37-0 from a few years ago. Don't worry about that. But here's the thing. I was going to say, just jumping on Jim Harbaugh here. Jim Harbaugh is probably one of the best things that's happened to Michigan in the last 10 years. You compare him to Rich Rock, compare him to Brady Hoke. Michigan is in a lot better place with Jim Harbaugh, and he brings a lot of money into the university. So they can lose to Notre Dame tonight. They can lose to Ohio State. They could be a 4-loss team, and he's not going to go anywhere. The NFL stuff, it's just all rumors. It's not true, I believe. And Harbaugh is going to be their coach next year, too.
And that very well might be true, but if they don't get to the playoffs, which they won't, and if they don't have a significant postseason appearance, which is doubtful at this point, I kind of agree with Terry here that he rides off into the sunset, whether that be to the NFL or whatever. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but
hey, Rick,
who's the next guy, though? Who's the guy?
You're right. Who's going to find? Not a jab against Jim Harbaugh, but who are you going to find any worse? Terry, if in fact Jim Harbaugh rides off into the sunset, who would you like to see ride back in or ride in?
I haven't even considered that.
Nick Saban?
Well, yeah, I would love that. Back to your first point about all the pressure being on Jim Harbaugh, all the focus being on Jim Harbaugh.
What about Urban Meyer?
Jim Harbaugh, don't even mention that scumbag.
I knew they'd get him riled up.
Yeah, I like it.
The players at some point have to play. If they like Jim Harbaugh, they need to find a way to win some of these close games so the conversation gets back to Michigan football and off of Jim Harbaugh. The players play the game, not Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh didn't drop that pass on 4th and goal. Not saying they would have beat Penn State, but Jim Harbaugh didn't drop that pass in the end zone last Saturday.
Well, Jim Harbaugh also called the play, though, that caused the drop pass.
I mean, the ball hit the kid in the hands, in the chest.
Yeah, that's not all Harbaugh. At Notre Dame we saw like a really similar thing with Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss is probably one of the best recruiters in the country, in his time at Notre Dame. But for some reason, that didn't translate to wins on the field. And you have to start looking at the coaching staff and what they're doing to get the team ready week to week. And eventually, it just comes down to the coaching staff. That's the ones that are going to get changed out because the talent's going to show up at Michigan. It's Michigan. It's its own brand. It recruits itself. So the talent is always going to be at Michigan. But you have to look at why that talent doesn't translate to wins on the field. It all comes down to coaching.
And Charlie Weiss is still getting paid by Notre Dame, but that's neither here nor there. Go ahead, Terry.
Somebody, if I had to pick a replacement, I know like Lincoln Riley is not going to be anybody that would be interested, but somebody cut from like the Mike Leach cloth. Air raid offense, super, super likable. Whacked out kind of crazy guy. I think kids love coaches like that and respond to guys like that.
Well, guys, I want to real quickly get your thoughts on something, Rick, and let's get into some of these other games that we've got going on in college football. This is our regular college football segment. Michael Young, big news, announces that he's going to transfer. We'll see where it goes. A lot of people are talking about Ohio State or Auburn. Both of them need a wide receiver next year. A lot of people think that he's a prima donna. He wants to be a star. I think Coach Kelly made the right decision in making him a as-needed type situation to fill after his injury. Michael Young decides that he's going to transfer. What are your thoughts? Good riddance. We need him. What are your thoughts?
This is just the epidemic of college football right now. If you're on a team, you think you're going to be the starter, and then you get beat out for your starting job, then your first reaction is just to overreact and transfer away to go somewhere where you can't start. The kids don't want to compete. They think that starting jobs are going to be handed to them, and when they're not handed to them, they want to transfer away. So this is that case. It sucks because we would need him. I mean, he's a great receiver, and whoever's going to pick him up is going to get a really great receiver. But at the same time, you want to look at how competitive he really wants to be.
Well, that's not just college football, though. It's happening in college basketball. And as this movement of payers being able to capitalize on their likenesses, getting paid and making appearances and stuff, I think it's only going to get worse.
No, I couldn't agree with you more on that. And I just think we could get really deep in the weeds about this as far as athletes getting paid because and their likeness and that sort of thing because. Yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm like a libertarian when it comes to this part of it because there's one part of me that says you're getting a free ride scholarship to some of the best colleges around if you're good enough to do that. That's also going to offer you the opportunity to get into the NFL, which is going to make you millions of dollars. But then there's the other part of it. Hey, if you as the college is making millions of dollars off of my likeness, I deserve a little bit of piece of that pie. So I see both. Of those situations. Rick, let's kind of let's mosey on through the college football top 25. Obviously, one of the biggest games on the docket, the Big Ten game, Wisconsin and Ohio State. Wait, I had that wrong.
Yeah, you got it. Wisconsin.
I got it right. Okay.
No, that's correct.
My fault.
That's the matchup.
My fault.
Well, the air got taken out of this game last week. Illinois popped that balloon last week. This was a really sexy matchup a week ago. This is one of the games you wanted to watch this year, and now it's completely pretty well meaningless unless Wisconsin finds a way to win, which I don't think so. Ohio State, to me, looks like the best team in the country. I mean, they really do. It's Ohio State, LSU. I think those teams might be right there, maybe just a little bit above Alabama this year. I think Ohio State with Chase Young on defense, that's a freak athlete at defensive end. And I don't know what they're going to do at Wisconsin as far as trying to protect their quarterback against Chase Young because that running game isn't going to pop off 300 yards against Ohio State, say. Ohio State's going to win by 3 scores. I don't know what the spread is in this game, but I don't care what the spreads are in most games. I mean, I watch the games every week, so I know what teams look like. Man, I use the eyeball test. Ohio State's going to end up winning this game by 3 scores. It's going to be sluggish at first because Wisconsin's going to try to control the clock with the running game, burn a lot of time in the first half, but Ohio State will get it going and win by 3 scores today.
And Terry, I know you probably got a different view of, as you'll refer to the team to the south, but just like Ohio State refers to you guys as the team to the north. But what are your thoughts about this game?
I also think that Ohio is probably the most complete team that I've seen thus far this season. The only question is, who have I seen them play? Today may be the first chance to actually see somebody come out and punch them in the mouth. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be muddy. Or not muddy because they play on field turf, but I think it's going to be a closer game than Rick thinks. I think Jonathan Taylor has a big game, and I think we see Justin Fields and that high-powered, super quick, super precision offense of Ohio struggle a little bit. I would be willing to bet Rick an adult cocktail that Ohio State doesn't cover the 14.
You got it. You got the deal.
He doesn't care what to bet. Whenever you bet an adult cocktail with Rick, as 2 birds land at the same time, which one's going to take off first? He'll bet an adult cocktail for you on that.
And he usually beats me at those.
How'd you know that bird was going to take off first, man? What are the odds? Appalachian State, when was the last time we talked about them being in the top 25? Rick against South Alabama, not a lot to talk about, but more than anything, Appalachian State in the top 25.
Well, what I worry about with them is this Scott Satterfield's player still, or they actually have a really good coach that can carry the team even further? Because, Scott Satterfield left is the head coach at Louisville now. I think Louisville's up and coming. Louisville doesn't look too bad this year. They're only going to get better. So that's what I worry about is just Scott Satterfield's recruit some players, or do they have a coach to take them to the next step here? Because Satterfield brought Appalachia State to D1, but can their current coach continue that? Because Satterfield's a really good coach, and he's gone.
Terry, what are your thoughts about, not if you want to chime in on Appalachian State, go ahead, but we've got Iowa against Northwestern, another Big Ten matchup there.
The only Appalachian State comment Terry wants to make is, I'll just let him go with that.
That's why I wanted to go right to the next game, but I felt like, well, all right, I'll give him an opportunity to chime in because the burn still burns, doesn't it, Terry?
It absolutely does. That was a heartbreaker. They're right up there with Colorado in my book.
So we move on then. That's why I said I've got to move on. So, Terry, we're going to let you open up the doors with number 20 Iowa Northwestern Big Ten matchup there.
Should be a good game. I mean, Iowa is a pretty solid football team playing at Evanston. Again, weather's going to be an issue. I just think Iowa too big, too strong, should win fairly easily.
Rick, Oklahoma, number 5, Oklahoma against the Kansas State Cougars.
Jayhawks. They're the Wildcats, Tom. But anyway.
Wildcats. Dang. I knew it was some sort of a cat. Cougar, cat, give me credit, man. I knew it was a cat.
There's not much to talk about in this game. It's Oklahoma State's right there with Ohio State. Oklahoma State ain't got the defense Ohio State has, but they got the offense Ohio State has. They're going to run this score up early. Jalen Hurts. It's either Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow, Terry. I don't know which one you want to consider to be the Heisman front runner. I still think it's Jalen Hurts, but Joe Burrow has played the better competition, so I guess you have to give him the edge, actually. Tom, you're bringing up all these other games, and then LSU and Auburn play today.
Well, that's on my list, but I'm going through the order in which they play. We wanted to get Notre Dame in first.
I think you need to go order of importance.
Well, then
all right, let's go. You're right, LSU and Auburn. Go ahead, Rick. Tee us off on that one. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, Joe Burrow can just plant his flag at midfield for the Heisman candidacy here because he's already probably considered the front runner anyway. He can really just make a statement and just take full control of the Heisman race here. And if they look ahead to next week's game against Alabama, then the LSU's in a lot of trouble today. So they better not be looking ahead. And another thing with Alabama, Tua is not playing today. They're only playing Arkansas. But there's a chance Nick Saban anyway says, because he's got a high ankle sprain, he might not be able to go next week either. And if that's the case, Bama's season is over. If Tua cannot play against LSU next week. That was a story to be looking at.
That's
story to be looking
at. Isn't it? I think it's the week after next. Doesn't Alabama have a week off, then LSU?
They have to bye
November
next 2nd.
Week. They have a bye next week or the week after?
Oh, I thought it was next week. I don't have it up here.
To get ready.
Somebody look it up. I'm pretty sure it game's November 2nd.
I'm looking it up right now.
We have totally gone off the rails. We're only talking about what's relevant. We're only discussing what's relevant.
Next week. Yeah, it's not next week. It's the 9th. I'm 99% positive.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then Bama's getting lucky here.
All right.
What about Indiana at Nebraska, Rick? What are you thinking there? Indiana with a chance to get bowl eligible probably for the earliest in the season ever.
Yeah, I think Indiana is a 2 or 3 point favorite. I think they're going to pull it off at Nebraska. I'm not sold on Martinez at the quarterback at Nebraska. I love Tom Allen as head coach of IU. It's just recruits. It's just getting players in because it's IU football. They're not really an IU, a football school. It's just recruits, getting the recruits in. I like Tom Allen. He's a tough-minded head coach, and the team takes on that persona, and that's how they play every year. That's why you see them hang with Ohio State and some of these big names in the conference. I do like Indiana, and I think IU pulls it off and gets bowl eligible.
Yeah, I think so too. They get Penix, the quarterback from Florida, back today. The only thing Nebraska is going with like a blackout, the all black. I don't think Martinez is going to play. I think I like Indiana to cover the 2.5.
Well, we'll see what happens.
When was the last time anybody ever picked Indiana as a road dog to win, or road favorite to win? My bad.
Road dog. Hey, Nebraska's hungry. Guys, we're about out of time here. So, Rick, I'm going to, since you're our official college football contributor and you hooked us up with the awesome Terry Beard, who